Nobody saw this coming. Not the fans, not the cast, not even the ones who thought they'd already seen it all. But when a DNA test dropped a truth bomb on Marcel Scott's life, it didn't just shatter his image. It set off a chain reaction of chaos, betrayal, and straight-up violence. Now Stormi Steele's in the hospital. Yandandy Smith is getting dragged online, and Latisha Scott, she's not just hurt, she's explosive. This isn't your usual reality TV drama. This is something else entirely. Let's start with the moment everything snapped. Behind closed doors, rumors had been brewing for months. Quiet whispers about Marsau possibly fathering a child outside his marriage. Most of the cast brushed it off. Marsau, always cool and calculated, flat out denied it whenever it came up. He called it slander, people clout chasing, the usual PR playbook. But turns out he was bluffing. Because when that DNA test hit 99% confirmed, there was nowhere left to run. According to insiders, the test wasn't even Marsau's idea. He didn't volunteer. The network stepped in. People close to production were reportedly fed up with the rumors swirling, and someone, either a cast member or the woman claiming Marsau's baby, pushed hard enough that the truth finally had to come out. The results were devastating. For Marsau, yeah, but mostly for Latisha, who had stood by him through scandal after scandal, only to find out the worst news didn't come from her husband, but from a leak. And that leak? All eyes turned to Stormi. Now here's where things get twisted. Stormi Steele has never really been the messy one. She came into the spotlight as a businesswoman, a calm voice in the middle of madness. But lately, she's been caught in the crossfire more than usual. And when Yandandy Smith, who everyone thought was trying to play peacemaker, accused Stormi of leaking the DNA info, it was like lighting a match in a room full of gas. Word is, Stormi and Yandy sat down privately to clear the air. But instead of resolution, it turned ugly, fast. Yandy allegedly threw a drink at Stormi during the confrontation. Stormi tried to walk away. Multiple people confirmed that. But Yandandy wasn't done. She followed her, yelling, pushing buttons, and in the heat of it all, Stormi ended up falling and hitting her head. Paramedics were called. She was rushed to the hospital with a concussion and what's being described as severe emotional trauma. And that's not the worst of it. Because while Stormi was still recovering, Latisha Scott found out the truth, not just about Marsau's betrayal, but that Stormi might have known before she did. That was the last straw. Latisha's always been the loyal one, the ride-or-die wife who defended Marsau no matter what. She took the heat. She dealt with the public scrutiny. And in the end, she got blindsided. The rage she felt wasn't just about her husband's betrayal. It was about the humiliation, the betrayal from someone she'd seen as a friend. Whether Stormi actually leaked anything or not didn't even matter anymore. In Latisha's mind, she had been played. And when she saw Stormi at the studio during a filming break, she didn't hold back. Security didn't react fast enough. Crew members tried to step in, but it was too late. Latisha lunged, screaming, fists flying. What was supposed to be a conversation turned into a physical attack that shocked even the most seasoned reality. TV veterans, and trust me, this is just the beginning. Stormi didn't see it coming. Still bruised, still dealing with the fallout of her run-in with Yandy, she was caught completely off guard by Latisha's fury. It wasn't just a confrontation, it was an ambush. People who were on set that day say you could feel the tension before anything even happened. Latisha had a look in her eyes that said she wasn't there to talk. She wasn't there to cry. She was there to unleash everything she'd been holding back. The hallway was quiet when it started. Just a couple crew members grabbing coffee, a few cast members checking their phones. Then, it erupted. Latisha's voice carried before her footsteps did, accusing, furious, raw. "You smiled in my face," she reportedly screamed. "And you knew." Stormi tried to back away, hands up, visibly shaken. But Latisha wasn't having it. She lunged. Security was seconds too late. The scuffle didn't last long, but it didn't have to. Stormi ended. Up on the floor again. This time not from an accident or a push, but from a full-on attack. Makeup smudged, hair pulled, emotions completely shattered. She was escorted out of the building with tears in her eyes and silence on her lips. No one's heard from her directly since. Production immediately hit pause. Everything went dark. Phones were snatched, NDAs were re-emphasized. But the damage was done. The internet did what it always does, took the scraps and ran. Within hours, hashtags exploded. Justice for Stormi, Latisha, unhinged, Huntsville meltdown. Everyone had an opinion, and nobody was holding back. But here's the part that really has people shook. Marsau has said absolutely nothing. Not one post, not one live, not even a story. While the women are in chaos and the show teeters on the edge of collapse, the man at the center of it all has gone radio silent. Some fans are calling it cowardice. Others think it's calculated. Insiders say he's lawyered up and being told to lay low while the network figures out how to deal with the legal and PR mess. Latisha, on the other hand, is still burning. Sources say she's demanding a public apology. Not just from Marsau, but from the network. She feels set up, humiliated, betrayed, on national television. She's not just angry about the affair, or the child. So she's angry that she was left in the dark while everyone else whispered behind her back. Behind the scenes, she's been meeting with attorneys. Divorce isn't confirmed, but it's definitely on the table. Apparently, she's weighing her next move very carefully, not just as a wife, but as a brand. She knows her name carries weight. She knows she has options, and if she walks, she might take a big chunk of the viewership with her. Yandy, meanwhile, is scrambling. Her peacemaker image has shattered, and the footage of her argument with Stormi is circulating like wildfire. People who once backed her are turning fast. Some are accusing her of instigating, playing both sides, and using Stormi as a scapegoat for drama. And if the rumors are true, the network is considering disciplinary action, maybe even suspension. Nothing's official yet, but the pressure is mounting. With Stormi gone silent, Latisha spiraling, Yandy cornered, and Marsau ghosting, the entire cast is fractured. Production doesn't know how to move forward. Execs are considering emergency rewrites, cast replacements, even a full season delay. What started as one DNA test has cracked the entire foundation of the show, and nobody knows who's going to make it out clean. Stormi's team finally broke the silence with a short, carefully worded statement. She was home recovering and asked for privacy. That was it. No mention of Yandy, no mention of Latisha. But her social media activity said more than words ever could. She unfollowed nearly half the cast, deleted promotional posts, and changed her bio. It was clear she was done playing nice, and fans noticed. Stormi Deserves piece started trending, with thousands showing support and demanding the network protect her, if she ever came back. But not everyone thinks she will. Insiders say Stormi's not just weighing her future on the show, she's questioning whether she wants anything to do with the cast at all. She didn't sign up to be physically attacked twice in 1 week. And now that her name's been dragged into a scandal she didn't start, she's not sure it's worth it. Her business is booming, her reputation outside the show is clean, and she's got options. If she walks, she won't be walking away empty-handed. Yandy, however, doesn't have that luxury. The public backlash hasn't let up. Her attempts to downplay the altercation with Stormi only made things worse. Fans are calling her two-faced, manipulative, and accusing her of faking her peacekeeper role just to stay relevant. Sources say producers have already sat her down for a serious conversation. She's been warned. One more misstep and she's out. There's even talk of a mid-season suspension if tensions don't cool off. Latisha is facing a whole different kind of pressure. She's become one of the most polarizing figures on the show. Some fans are still loyal, insisting she's just a woman pushed to her breaking point. Others want her off the show entirely, calling her behavior inexcusable and dangerous. And then there's Marsau, still completely silent. No statements, no apologies, no sign of him at all. It's like he disappeared the moment the fire started. But behind the scenes, he's very much involved. Sources close to production say Marsau has been in private meetings with both network execs and Latisha's legal team. He's acknowledged the child, admitted the affair, and while he's not saying much publicly, privately he's trying to patch things up before it all slips away. He's reportedly offered to step back from filming to give Latisha space. But it might be too little, too late. Latisha has already met with multiple divorce attorneys. And while she hasn't filed yet, those close to her say she's leaning in that direction, not just for her own peace, but to protect her image. She's seen the way public opinion can swing overnight. She knows staying silent, or staying married could make things worse. So she's playing chess now, not checkers. Every move calculated, every interview request declined. The show itself is hanging by a thread. Production is technically on hold, but that hasn't stopped the drama. Online forums are exploding with speculation. Some think the network will scrap the rest of the season entirely and start fresh. Others say they're planning a reunion-style, sit-down episode to address the DNA scandal and the violence head-on. Either way, the cast will never be the same again. Producers are reportedly considering a major cast shakeup. Stormi might walk. Yandy could be forced out. Latisha's future depends on what happens with Marsau. And as for Marsau himself, if he does return, he'll be doing it under the weight of a scandal that changed everything. This wasn't just drama for the cameras. It was betrayal, heartbreak, and real consequences. And no one, cast, fans, or producers, can pretend otherwise anymore. Nobody expected Stormi Steele to go live that night, let alone break down crying in front of thousands. You could see it in her face. This wasn't about clout or some performative meltdown. This was someone who had hit her limit. No filters, no scripts, just raw emotion pouring out. And the craziest part? The story she told wasn't even the half of it. Stormi had always been seen as this poised, driven woman who handled her business and moved in silence. So when she started, wiping away tears on camera, talking about being blindsided and betrayed, it caught everyone off guard. But behind that one moment was a long buildup of tension, frustration, and, according to her, straight-up manipulation. And the man at the center of it all? Carlos, her former manager, business partner, and, for a time, someone she trusted deeply. It wasn't always like this. A few years back, Stormi and Carlos looked like the ultimate power duo. She was on the rise, full of creativity and fresh energy. He had the network, the hustle, and the reputation. They were building something real, or at least that's what it looked like from the outside. Stormi credited Carlos with opening doors and helping shape her brand. And Carlos, he constantly hyped her up, calling her one of the most promising talents he'd ever worked with. But somewhere along the way, things got weird. Quiet at first, missed calls, passive-aggressive comments in meetings, decisions being made without her input. Stormi tried to brush it off. "It's just stress," she told her team. "We're all under pressure." But deep down, she knew something had shifted. The real breaking point came during a meeting that was supposed to be about her next big project. Stormi had been working on a campaign that meant the world to her. Her sound, her image, her vision. She'd poured months into it. But Carlos didn't see it the same way. He wanted something safe, predictable, marketable. He said the numbers didn't justify taking risks. "And Stormi?" she snapped. People who were in the room that day said it felt like a switch flipped. Stormi was tired of being told to play it safe. She'd followed every rule, hit every deadline, and still felt like she was being pushed to the side. So when Carlos laid down a contract that would have given him even more control over her work, she refused to sign. And that's when it all exploded. According to Stormi, Carlos called her unprofessional, said she was hard to work with, and accused her of being too emotional for the business. She fired back, telling him he'd been undermining her for months. It wasn't just a disagreement, it was a full-on confrontation. And by the end of it, Carlos made the call. He fired her. Stormi didn't talk about it right away. She stayed quiet, trying to process what had just happened. But as rumors started flying, everything from contract disputes to shady behavior, she decided she wasn't going to let someone else control the narrative. That's when she went live. In the video, she broke down, saying she felt betrayed, tossed aside like she didn't matter. She didn't just lose a manager, she lost someone she once considered a friend. The pain was real, and her fans felt it too.